Mike says I should take questions right now, so I always listen to Mike. Yes.
Mr. Curie, I don't have a question, but I've got a comment I'd like to make. First of all, I am a frequent caller to your office and the offices of the other representatives, I say supposed representatives, in our government, state and federal. And I do appreciate, I've got a little prop here, I do appreciate your response to my concerns. Even though we disagree, I do appreciate it. I disagree on many aspects of the stimulus plan and the $410 billion omnibus bill which just passed. And it was done rather secretly. We've got a president who seems to like to thrive on photo ops. This one was done in relative obscurity. Okay? I don't have a problem with stimulus per se. What I do have a problem with, though, is all of the, and again, this is where we start parsing words again about earmarks. What is good for one district, what is not good for somebody else. And everything that you said, I can subscribe to, what you just presently presented to us. However, I do have a problem with, if we are in such economic dire straits, why all of these little things get snuck in under the cover of darkness by all of our politicians in Washington. Frankly, sir, I have very little faith or trust in the people who purportedly represent me and the citizens of this country in Washington, D.C. today. Like I say, you've been very upfront in many ways. I think we still have the privilege as American citizens at this point to still disagree.
Absolutely.
And again, I do appreciate you coming here and taking the time to hear maybe some of the venting that we would like to do, or I would like to do anyway. All right? But I do have a problem with the underhanded duplicity of our representatives in Washington, D.C. and the arrogance that they present to the general public. If this is a country, I know it's a republic, okay? And I expect you to go down there. I find it highly irresponsible for them to pass an $1,100 stimulus package without even voting on it, or without even reading it. I know it was passed to aides and so on and so forth to read bits and pieces, but I think that's irresponsible. I don't think we'd expect any of our teachers or lawyers or doctors in this room or anywhere else in our communities to take and prescribe something without having read thoroughly what is in the documents that are supposedly giving them data to make a decision. I think it's a very poor choice. And I do think that this stimulus package that is loaded with all sorts of things, call it pork, call it earmarks, whatever, is totally irresponsible. I think we've got some very arrogant people down there. And I'm sharing this with you, sir, because I consider myself, when I call all the offices, I say that I have no representation and that I'm just a voiceless American citizen. I'm coming to you today as a citizen of this country with maybe a little chance that you can take and bring these thoughts and ideas and the frustration to your colleagues in the Congress and the Senate. I sent a message to Senator Schumer, the same thing. Some of the things. I resent him classifying me as a member of the chattering classes because I was worried about pork in a bill. It disturbs me greatly, the arrogance. And thank you for your time.
Well, thank you. A couple of points, that I'd like to respond to. And again, not to just to, again, this is, we have obviously have the right to disagree, but just 2 points that I want to make. First point is with respect to the bill. I was on the rules. I'm on the Rules Committee, which is a committee that oversees every single piece of legislation. It's 13 members. We see every piece of legislation before it goes to the floor. So I had an opportunity to examine Dave Obey, who wrote the bill, at the Committee for Ways and Means to put together the tax, pieces of it. So I had a pretty good opportunity and went back and forth to know the bill and know what it was about. One of the things that were critically important, and much like the psychological aspect of what we're dealing with now, is that we needed to move quickly with the bill. And there clearly were two aspects of it. And, we're going to disagree on this, but there are two aspects of it. Aspect number one is the substance of the bill. Aspect number two is the speed with which you implement the change that, or the infusion into the economy that's needed. So that was part of the things that we were considering in that regard. And again, we probably disagree on that. Second thing is earmarks. Now, I will submit this to you, that of all the parts of your federal government that you have the most input and you get the most direct benefit from, it is just the opposite of what you think. It's earmarks. Because there is no other way, no better way, I shouldn't say no other way, there is no better way for you to get something from the federal government than through a specific funding mechanism. Now, last week I did a similar town hall meeting in New Hartford. It was really interesting because someone brought up the point that you just brought up on earmarks. And I saw this really nice woman nodding her head when he was saying that. And I mean, I assumed from that she was in agreement with what he said. After which, and I bring this around with me now, she handed me this letter and she said, Congressman, this is a note for our senior center. We need a new, some equipment in it. Which, and I laughed and I said, thank you so much for the letter. And I said, I wish you had given it to me before because I could have used it in my presentation when I was answering the question on earmarks. But that bill that you just talked about, the recent bill, some of the things that, and I really wanted that bill because some of the things in that project are earmarks that I asked for that, you know what, are totally transparent, that I put on, out there. So everyone knows that Mike Arcuri asked for those, and those are for my district. And I'll match those requests against anyone's inquiry whatsoever. One of the things that we put on there, and I use this one because, is a request for $3.2 million for Remington Arms to develop what they call a M24 sniper rifle. That makes our soldiers safer that use it in the field, number one, puts people to work, but Remington had 100 new people last year, and they anticipate another 100 people this year. As a result of that additional money that we helped them get. I mean, that's real people put to work here. There is in Cayuga County, we got them an earmark for their child advocacy, to start a child advocacy center. We have a child advocacy center here in Oneida County that is one of the best child advocacy centers in the country. Cayuga County wants to model one after Oneida County. We got them some money so they can keep their children safer. Now, I can go on with a bunch of these. We got some money for the Oneida County DA's office. Had a little special interest in there, but we got them some money for a investigation unit that they wanted to create. But the point of it is this. Look, if you don't get earmarks from your congressional representative, there are going to be earmarks that someone are going to create far off in Washington, some bureaucrat that's going to have no association with your constituents and what's there. So, we need to do one thing, and we've already done it, and we'll continue to do it, and that's make earmarks as open and as transparent as we can, so that people see what it is, because you need to know what it is I'm asking for as your representative. You should see, and if you don't like it, we put them online now. As of this year, they'll all be online, all our requests. And if you don't like it, you should tell us that you don't like it. But if you do, you need to see what it is that we're asking for our constituents. That's the kind of transparency that we have changed. And that was just as of last year. Those are all new changes we have made. But I would submit that that is the way that you get actual responsiveness from your to projects that you need, that otherwise may not get funded. You may not get help with. So, yeah, do things need to improve? Of course, we can always make things better. We can always improve them more. But that's my pitch on why I think congressionally directed funding is important to constituents, and if it's done the right way, it can be very beneficial.